Hi, it's Amy. I'm back again with another bread machine to show you. This happens to be a Cuisinart, and I'll get up close as we program it. But this is the Cuisinart. I like it because the handles allow me to carry it from the sides. It's a beautiful machine and I like it. So the recipe we're doing today is this recipe. Take a screenshot and you can enjoy that. We're gonna load the pan first before I show you how to turn on the machine. This is my favorite white bread recipe. And to start, we need to take the bread pan out of the machine, and all you do is you twist it a little bit and lift it up, and then you have the bread pan. And the bread pan requires a paddle. This is the paddle that comes with it, and you need the flat edge along the bottom. As you'll notice, there's an angle in the paddle. There's a flat, why am I not seeing this? There's a flat edge to it that needs to go onto the post. The post has a flat edge on it. So you have to match the post on with that, and then it anchors in really good. And you want that in clear to the bottom so that it'll knead your dough. So we're gonna load this with the recipe. So to start with, following the recipe, we need 1.5 cups of warm water, which I got right out of the tap. It's just warm. You don't want hot. Hot will kill your yeast. So you just do warm. And we start with the liquid ingredients at the bottom because the flour will separate your yeast so it doesn't start growing if you're putting it on a timer, which I'm doing tonight. I'm loading it tonight to enjoy it in the morning. So we're gonna add a teaspoon of salt to our pan, 2 tablespoons of sugar to our bucket, and 2 tablespoons of oil. You can use any oil you have around the house. Whatever you like works just fine. And if you don't like it, change oils. But until you experiment, you won't know what you like for a while. Now, let me teach you a little bit about flour. This is bread flour, and I get it in the big 25-pound bags at Costco, and then I dump it into another container. It fills 2 or 3 times when I get a bag. But when you go to measure flour, you need to stir your flour and give it a little bit of air. It's packed when you pour it in to the bucket. And I stir it. When you stir it, you can tell with it, I leave this big spoon in the bucket, so that makes it easy for me. But you can tell when you're stirring it, the spoon will go in and it's kind of firm. And as you add air, it becomes lighter and lighter. And once it just glides through the flour, you know it's got some air in it and it's light. So I also leave this 2-cup measure in here for me because I do this every day. And so you just scrape off the 2-cup level and pour it into your pan, your bucket. And we're gonna do that twice. But I always like to stir it so that my loaf is not a brick. It makes a difference. And you don't tap your measuring cup, you slide it off and then it's level. So we now have 4 cups of flour in there, and that's good. Now you need yeast for it to grow, and I happen to use SAF Insta yeast. I get it in the foil, vacuum pack sealed in bulk because I go through it so much, but it calls for 1 teaspoon. So we're gonna put 1 teaspoon in there. And then this is the secret ingredient for people at high altitudes, which I am. I'm in Utah. So I use Vital Wheat gluten, and I got this can at Macy's originally, and now I just refill it from the bulk bins at Winco with Vital Wheat gluten. I've seen it online. You can buy it online, have it shipped right to your door. But Winco is very inexpensive. So I leave a measuring spoon in here, and it's a tablespoon, but I do a heaping tablespoon for Utah. So So I put that in there, and that will make your loaf light and airy, and it's really good gluten, and that's what gluten does. It lets things rise. And that's why you want bread flour. It has a good amount of gluten in it. So what I'm going to do is lift this pan and put it into the machine. You're going to put it into the machine kind of at an angle. You'll feel it go down into the, see that circular mechanism? It's going down into there at an angle, and it drops down in. And then you're going to turn it so that it's even with the bucket, with the oven. This is an oven, it's going to get hot. So treat it like an oven when you come back. You don't want the handle sticking up, because if your bread rises, it can get stuck in there. You push it to the side, and if your loaf rises nice and pretty, it'll look great. So we're going to close the lid. Made a beep, but this is the top. I like having a window to watch it, but this particular machine has on the top, it's got the loaf size. Right now it's set at, you see the little button, it's at 2 pounds. But you can click it through if you're gonna do half of the recipe or 1.5 times the rest, and the full recipe is a 2-pound loaf that I just did. And then the crust color is here along the bottom. You'll see that little line move as I press the crust color. It's gonna move to dark, light, medium. I'm gonna do medium. And these little things tell you what's going on inside the machine. There will be a button inside that lights up, and it'll progress through the series of rising and baking and keeping warm. Now you come down to the menu button, and these are your menus: the basic, white, French, whole wheat, sweet, gluten-free, packaged, cake, quick, dough, pasta dough, jam, and bake only. And then there's a rapid bake. Rapid bake will do it in an hour. It's amazing. But right now on the menu, I'm gonna do the basic loaf because I want to add time to it. I'm gonna plus the time. Right now it would be 3 hours and 53 minutes to do. No, the menu says 2. I don't want 2, I want 1. 1, I want the basic white, and then I'm going to add time to it because I want it to be done in the morning. I'm holding down my finger and it's going through the time. I want it to be done in 12 hours from now. 12 hours. And then if I press start, it'll start that 12-hour delayed time, and then it'll be done. And you just leave this on your counter for the morning, and I'll be back to show you what it looks like in the morning. Good morning. This machine is gonna beep at me, and it's got 1 minute left. Oh, there it goes. So it's telling me it's done. It's a nice soft beep. Some machines have louder beeps. It's nice that the countdown is on top. I like the timer working on top. I didn't mention though that when you set it and you're wondering with the timer if it's working, you can come back in a few minutes and the time will have gone down a couple of minutes. Or the 2 little dots between the time will be blinking, and that means it's counting down. So that way you can tell if it's going. Otherwise, when you just press start with no timer on it, it will start mixing and you know it's working. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and lift the lid, and we had just a little bit that touched the top, and it's breathing. It's a beautiful loaf. See how rounded it is and beautiful? I'm gonna get my hot pads because this is an oven. I'm gonna unplug it. This is an oven, it's hot, and we're gonna pull it out by the paddle. Now this machine needs to be turned counterclockwise just a smidge to get it anchored into the out of the machine. So we're gonna pick it up with a hot pad, go in and grab the handle that's back there. Had to kind of push the loaf of bread out of the way. And now I'm gonna twist it just a smidge to the left, and then lift it and pull it out. Then I'm gonna shove the handle back over the bread so that it'll come out. And I'm gonna grab it by the bottom and hold the handle to the side. And as you can see, the paddle came out. There's a nice hole. And I'm gonna let this cool. You wanna cool it on a rack, because if you put it on your counter, there's no air for the bread to cool off, and it'll sweat and you'll have a wet loaf on that side. Here you can see the inside. We have a little bit of the bread stuck to the paddle, which is easy to clean off once it's cold. Once this pan is cooled down, I can go in and soak it in the sink and clean it. But in this case, the paddle didn't come off. You want to make sure that the paddle is out of your loaf, because I have literally given away a loaf with the paddle in it and had to go rescue my paddle. The machine won't work without the paddle. But anyway, I close this to let that little bit toast on the top, and then it's easy to clean. It just pops off and cleans. But it's wonderful to have the smell in the house. The house smells wonderful. And then if you wanted to slice this right now, I would use an electric knife. An electric knife will go through hot bread. If you give it 15 minutes, your regular knife can cut through it, and it's just gorgeous. You can cool it on its side, you can cool it standing up, but it's a beautiful loaf, and enjoy.